Hey baddies, welcome back to the Rockstar Riches channel. Today I'm going to be telling you about working Mardi Gras in New Orleans. I worked this year, I worked a few years running here for this event, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the clubs, my experience, pros and cons, any like fun stories along the way, and just really wrap up what the experience was like. So if you want to know what it is like to work Mardi Gras in New Orleans, keep watching and find out more. Alright. New Orleans. What do you think when I say New Orleans, right? Probably jazz, really good food, probably like wild, over-the-top partying. You are correct on all counts. Like this city, I keep coming back to it because of those things. It's so incredibly fun. The people are amazing. My coworkers here are so incredible, and really this is the closest I feel to a home place because the city just has so much to offer, and it's still small. Like it doesn't feel like a giant town. It doesn't feel like, hey, you know, move over, no one cares about you, keep going, like grind, grind, grind. It actually has this like slowed down feel, and like it's okay to enjoy things, and there's like beautiful parks. There's so many good things I could say about the city, but Mardi Gras is like a totally different city altogether, okay? Like all those things, all that slow going, relaxed pace, all of that changes for a week because people come in, hundreds of thousands of people come through the city in a matter of days to enjoy the celebrations, to watch the parades, and literally the whole city shuts down. So it's like totally different from any other work week, because even in other events, like they're not gonna shut down every major road just for an event. It's a big deal. It's taken like super seriously here, and it's also really interesting because some dancers will never work it. Other dancers fly in from other cities to work it. So there's a lot of like different Mardi Gras stories and ways it can go down, but that's why I wanted to sort of break it down and tell you a little bit about how my Mardi Gras was this year, and yeah, just the whole experience, trip, etc. So I want to start with the setup, okay? In New Orleans, most of the clubs are in one place. Like in other cities, you might have to go 20, 15 minutes. New Orleans, almost all the clubs are on one road called Bourbon Street. And Bourbon Street is this like party alley, basically. It's like blocks and blocks and blocks of, on either side, bars, restaurants, like little shops, performing artists. Like so many people perform right outside. It is so loud, it's frenetic, everyone is getting so lit, and people come just to do that. Like literally they'll show up and just walk up and down Bourbon Street for 2 days straight. Right, so that's like where most of the clubs are, and especially the bigger ones. So there's 4 big clubs right in that pocket. There's Penthouse, there's Bricks Cabaret, there's Hustlers, and there's Barely Legal. And there are a few more than that. Those aren't the only ones. Like there's Stilettos. There used to be a lot more, actually. There used to be Rick's Saloon. There used to be Babes Cabaret, which then turned into Kama Sutra. There used to be some other smaller clubs that like got shut down because the city of New Orleans just really cracked down and made it a lot harder for there to be licensing for clubs. But basically you're gonna find the big players in the city in that little stretch of block. So as people go and they're drinking and they're partying and having fun, they're just gonna like pop their head into the strip club and they stay and they spend a whole bunch of money. That's what we want. So this weekend, my original plan was to go and try all of those clubs. I auditioned at Hustlers, which told me no, and I was gonna go in for a re-audition, but I had to make like a, you know, a strategic call of like, I want to just be working. I don't want to be worried about auditions right now. I want to be in the club making my money. So you're going to see the journey of going through those auditions. You're going to see what happened when they said no. By the way, update, I am going to go re-audition at that club. I just decided not to do it this week, but we are, actually I won't even tell you. We have a new amazing course coming out basically on this topic, and I'll be dropping more news on that later on this month. But for now, check out what happened in New Orleans.
Just finished my first audition at Rick's. Now I'm going over to Hustlers to see if I can get hired there too. It was really calm, really straightforward. 2 stages, 2 songs, 1 stage. And now it is definitely getting to be Mardi Gras season. Lots of drunk fools, hopefully with lots of money out and about, that will hopefully get us all paid. nefarious purpose for filming this. I wanted to see how long it would be to get from Rick's to Hustlers. The answer is 32 seconds. Update just went by Hustlers. They said to come back by 9, so I'm gonna go grab some dinner and then swing back around for an audition. Important note about working here: everybody wants some form of identification and your social security card, the physical card, not just the number. And they all have very wildly different audition times. One place told me before 6, another told me between 6 and 8. Another one just told me after 9, ideally towards 9:30. So it's worth it to take a day and plan that out. Wouldn't be a round of auditions if I didn't hear at least one no. So Hustlers told me no tonight. I asked them for feedback and they said more stage presence, which because honestly audition stage does, I try to do the absolute least. So I have the sort of least risk of messing something up. But they're really stage heavy. So right now I'm getting ready for auditions again. Usually I work clubs that are really conversation heavy and where it's just like bring the look, bring the presentation. You don't have to bring the stage as much. And I realized this club needs like that stage focus. So I put together a little list of my stage set and what things I'm going to practice tonight. And I'm doing my like 45-minute stretching practice beforehand, getting all limber and nice. Then I'm going to practice with some music, try a couple of things that I've been working on with Young Pole Master, and yeah, just get ready to do it again. Obviously, if I have to wait until after, it's not going to be a tragedy. I'm hired at Rick's, I'm hired at Penthouse. I'll probably swing by Barely Legal tomorrow as well. But this is one of the things that like grails on me, you know? Like I never go to an audition once, especially if I hear no, like I need to go back until I hear yes. So here we go, a little bit of pole practice time. I'll include some clips of that in here for y'all. And between these auditions, so I was supposed to go re-audition on Wednesday, right? That's what I said. And then I heard about this party. And this was not just some regular house party. This is like the most unbelievable of like fun, grungy, exciting costume, like queer friendly, amazing events. And they've hosted some other events before. I am not gonna say who they are, where it was. I'm not dropping any information that could identify them because this is like a New Orleans treasure, and I want to keep it that way. I want to keep it to the amazing people that put it on, but I want to mention it because they had one of the most fucking awesome strip shows I have ever seen in my life. Okay, so I had a friend who was performing and I wanted to go see, and so we went out. Of course I dressed down because I'm like, my thinking, I didn't know it was a costume party, so I dress the whole way down like no one's gonna notice me. I just want to be a little wallflower. Why am I the most conspicuous bitch there? Because I wore not a costume and everyone else is dressed up, and I'm like, I have so much lingerie. I have so many costumes. Like I have an entire closet of costumes and lingerie and like glitter and sparkles and face jewelry and body jewelry, and I'm like standing there in my like CPA outfit at this party. And it was a party, like hundreds of people, incredible performances, like so sickening, like performances I will never see again. Like really, truly, I'm not even going to describe some of these because they're like so beyond the pale of what is like strip club culture. Let's just suffice it to say that New Orleans has an incredible artistic scene, that there are some incredible performers here, and that it is incredibly reinvigorating to know that the industry is not just this one little pocket of how, you know, management, DJ, this, that you can have a good ass time stripping and an amazing experience without any of those trappings. So that was Wednesday. Thursday, my Mardi Gras officially started. It was actually one of my better nights of the week. I worked typical shift, like 8 to 9 to about 6 a.m.
and just had one of those customers, you know, one of those like, this person's ready to spend, they want to spend it on me, they're not afraid of big numbers, they're not afraid to tip. So it was like, it was a good shift. Like, I wouldn't call it an extraordinary shift, I would just call it a decent good shift, where I walked out like, all right, that was worth the time, that was nice. And then on Friday,
I wish I could do the thing.
do you want it?
I am going in earlier today. It's around. Hello. How's it going? Going in around 7-ish. I'm gonna go to Rick's first, then Penthouse, just to get a feel of both clubs. It's gonna be my first night there, so that should be really interesting. These 2 days, people are basically out fucking early, like all day long, because there's parades going on, and so there's like already sort of zombie drunk people walking around at 7 p.m. We will see what the night brings, though.
My dumbass thought it would be a good idea to work both Rick's and Penthouse. Now, that was my first shift ever at Rick's. Generally, I would not go into a new club during a big event to just like find out how the club works, etc. But I was feeling a little spicy. I was feeling a little wild. So I went into Rick's. I made most of what I made off like a 21-year-old, which was like, that's kind of classic Mardi Gras to me, that there's so much potential that people don't see, right? People are wearing Hawaiian t-shirts here, people are dressed down, people might be really young, or they might just have like a Tom Selleck mustache. Like, there's so many ways you can be like, this dude doesn't have money. And literally, it's a full club. There were like 30 entertainers sitting around, and no one had approached this young dude, probably because he looked like he didn't have any money. But he pulled through. I had a decent shift there. And then I'd gotten there kind of late. Like, my original plan was to get there at like 4 or 3 and then go into Penthouse later. But I was just, I've learned in this career not to sacrifice my sleep. Like, I need those 8 hours. So if that means I'm going to be there later, I'm going to be there later. And that's that on that. So I actually went in at 8 and worked there till about 1 and then went over to Penthouse. So if I could do it again, I probably wouldn't have done that, because my house fee was like over $100 to work at the second club, and I didn't make the kind of numbers that would have justified that. But I just wanted, honestly, I really like the club I work at most of the time, and I really like the vibe, and I like the way it's set up, and I feel like when I'm there, I feel very lucky to sell time and sell my services in a space where like I feel good being in there. I feel like, hey, this place feels refreshing, it feels beautiful, which is not to talk any trash about the other club. They were super nice and understanding. They were really helpful and gave me all the information I needed to succeed there. I just knew, hey, this is a weekend where I want to do well, and I just want to be in a place that I know and I'm really comfortable with and understand how it works and know everybody. So it was just a personal choice. But that was my second day. So the third day. Okay, third day should have been big money, and I kind of messed up. My shift started great. I was making money. I was having a real good time. And then I had 2 tequilas. I am not a drinker. I don't know why I think I'm a drinker. And it had been a while since I had drank, so I was feeling really lit. And I decided to call it a night, because I'm like the opposite of, like, I feel like most people drink and their anxiety goes down, they relax, they're having fun. For me, a lot of times, like, if I drink, I can get really emotional, I can get really grumpy, and I just didn't want to do that to myself. So I skipped out, and I decided to like hang out with a boy. And okay, I know that I'm really big on working, and I don't want to make it sound like, hey, don't like compromise on your goals or something, because that's not the point. I just knew, hey, I'm good right now. If I want to take off and I want to just not put myself in a situation where I'm going to be uncomfortable or like have a giant hangover tomorrow, regret being here, I'm going to dip. So basically I went home about like 3 or 4 hours into my shift and took off for like 24 hours. So I missed out on Saturday money and Sunday money, which not my favorite. Like, I'm about my money. But it felt like, honestly, just feels dishonest to say there's not times like that, because I think we all have days or shifts or whatever where you're like, I need a moment, I'm taking off, I'm not gonna be here, there's something else that I want to go do, and I don't give myself a lot of those spaces, but it's something that I'm working on, because I don't want to only work. Like, there's other things that are like fun and exciting to do, and like, it was Mardi Gras and I wanted to enjoy it with someone I knew. I'm not gonna lie, I felt a lot of like guilt about it because Mardi Gras only happens once a year, but at the same time, Mardi Gras or any other week, what I've realized in this industry is there's always another weekend. There's always another big payday. Like, there's events all over the country all the time. So for me, it was just a personal decision of how I wanted to spend my time this weekend, and I sort of made a calculation like, I'm gonna work Monday and Tuesday, and I'm gonna hope to God that I work my ass off and that it pays off, so that this weekend is not a loss for me as far as income. So here's what happened after that.
I'm sitting at around like 4,000 to earn for the weekend, and there's still 2 more days. The thing about these 2 more days is that they're not as busy. It's not going to be, I mean, they're busy in the quarter, but the clubs itself might not be as busy. And people can be a little bit spent out, but I'm going in with a really positive attitude. I'm going to show up early today, try to work late, and try to do the same the next day, and hopefully have like an amazing Mardi Gras miracle come through. So I'll keep you updated.
So I've heard this for years, that the day, like the Monday and the Tuesday of Mardi Gras are not great work days. And I don't know where I'd heard it from. I mean, there's so many opinions on working this week specifically, right? In the circle world, as you know, if you're a dancer, you're looking for quality over quantity. A lot of times you just want to get that big customer, that big whale, and get paid big time and just have 1 or 2 good interactions in a night. And on weekends like this, it can turn into just back to back to back. Like, you are doing so many dances, you are on your feet, you are talking to everybody, and it can be really busy and chaotic. A lot of times rooms can be all filled up, so there might not be room, even if you have that whale, like, you might not be able to capitalize on it. And also it's a mess. Like, the whole city shuts down. There's like, it's really hard to get anywhere. Cabs can be really expensive. Clubs will up fees often on like house fees and stuff because they know it's a busy weekend. So even though there's a lot of potential, there's also a lot of people that won't work Mardi Gras week at all because they're like, it's just too much of a pain in the ass. It might be more quantity, but it maybe they might hit less quality, especially if you're tired, if you've been working really hard all week. It can really be a mixed bag. So it's not like automatic that everybody wants to work. I had heard for years that the Monday and Tuesday of Mardi Gras are not like great work days. I always take stuff like that with a grain of salt because you just never know. And I've heard that about so many shifts where someone's like, there's no money here. And it's like, the club is full and there's people spending. They're just not in a good mood and they're not seeing the money that's there or the potential that's there. I ended up deciding that it was going to be I didn't want to take the L of not having worked through those days, and I at least wanted to see what those shifts were like, which I've never worked before. Usually I leave on Tuesday or on Monday, so I don't have to go through the crowd and deal with like the people everywhere. So this year I stayed and I was pleasantly surprised. Like, I actually really enjoyed working, even though people were drinking. It was like just a lot more chill. Like, it felt more like working like a Sunday. It felt more like working like 2 Sundays in a row or something, where it was like a really chill crowd, where people were really pleasant, they were spending, and they were having a good ass time. So, couple of things. I was absolutely exhausted by the end. Just finished another long shift. Today it was, I think, 8 to 6-ish. And going down right now it's about 8 a.m. Body's doing a lot better than the last few days. Getting some rest really helped. Yeah, and right now I'm just gonna turn in because I'm absolutely wiped and I want to make sure I get at least 6 hours of sleep before I start getting ready. So plugging out, and I'll give you a final update. By the way, I've been working all these shifts at Penthouse. I know that I was thinking of trying Bricks and going to these other clubs, but I just really like that home club, and well, more about that later. Like, even though I took time off in the middle, my body was just, whew, like that back-to-back dancing, move, talk to everybody. That can get to you, and it's honestly working here. I've become really accustomed to it, but it just felt like you really had to stay on your toes all weekend long. All right, it's a shift of Mardi Gras. I am so fucking tired. None of me wants to be here. But guess what? I showed up. Literally, my knees are in so much pain from the last few days. But I missed out Saturday, so I gotta work tonight. So I think the plan is just keep it fucking moving, switch into shorter heels, and keep going till I hit at least my minimum. I got to really test my willpower muscle. Going back to work on Monday, I really was not feeling it. Even Tuesday, I was not feeling it, and just pushing myself to be in there and to stay and to do my damn job because I know what I wanted to get out of the weekend. Like, that felt really good. My pros for this weekend were, one, it was so much fun. Like, I really had fun. Everyone came into town to have fun. Everyone came into town for this big festival. Like, they wanted to be here. They were excited to be at the strip club. And to me, that goes a long way. Like, when the whole room is hype and everyone's excited, even if they're not spending the absolute most, that's valuable to me. I really appreciate that. Second pro was doing a couple auditions. Like, I haven't auditioned anywhere since last summer, so I felt a little bit rusty. And I really needed that to get my ass in shape and to like really get in gear of what's coming next for me, because I'm going to be traveling a lot this year. And so getting that confidence again and realizing like where I can be stronger as a performer, that was really valuable to me. Pros, I was really proud of myself for going back to work on Monday, because the easy choice was like just not. The cons, number one, everything's just more expensive. Like, this is any event though, not just Mardi Gras, but like everything's expensive and everything's inconvenient. So it was a lot. 1 second. Everything's expensive. Like, to get anywhere, there was one time where, thank God I was like with two of my friends, but our Uber was $50 for like 2 miles. Like, it was a joke. And there's a lot of that with events, like trying to get an Airbnb, all of that. Like, usually I feel like you have to finesse that before, like a long time before an event, or you gotta like know someone in town to really alleviate that cost. Because there's nothing like, if you're gonna travel for an event and then you end up spending back like, you know, a rack or 2 racks on just having to get accommodations and all of that, and it evens out to what you would have made at home, it's like, for what, you know? For me, it wasn't a con, but definitely if I was a little like more complacent, or I was waiting for customers to approach me, that would have been a big no-no weekend for that, because both clubs I worked at, I'm sure every club had so many entertainers. So it was like, you gotta move, you gotta talk to people. You couldn't just sit around. Like, if you bought a flight late and then you showed up to town and then you thought like you could just sit around and customers would approach you and you would make the numbers, I feel like that's just a no-go. Probably only other con is like how drunk people get, but honestly, people are that lit here all the time. It was just kind of shocking. Yeah, and probably like the way that like fees go up, and I think there's just a lot more stress. Like, even though everyone out there is partying, everyone in the club can be like really stressed and tightened up, because people build expectations around events. For me, it was honestly a fairly average week numbers wise. It wasn't anything. It was actually like exactly like 3 weeks ago, like I made almost the exact same amount. So I wasn't like, oh my God, this is insane money. But definitely was really grateful for it. Had a lot of fun doing it. It's gonna stay on my circuit for sure. I'll probably be back here and do a little vlog about Jazz Fest because that's another one that I know I want to be here and work. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward. Like, I'll update y'all with the auditions from those other 2 clubs once I do actually get to it. That's probably like my only regret this weekend was not going through with those auditions, just so I could have gotten that perspective. But Mardi Gras will come again in 2021, so I will definitely be giving those updates then. Thank you for watching. I hope this was useful and instructional. If you have questions about working New Orleans in Mardi Gras or any other season, you can drop them below. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe, drop some comments. All the love is really appreciated, and it definitely helps. And let me know where you would want me to go next. I am planning my schedule for 2020. I want to know what clubs, what cities you'd like to see me work at, what events you'd like me to review. I want to be there and giving you all of those updates. And if you have not heard, Racked app is live in the App Store now, so make sure you check it out. Make sure you show it some love. It is an app just for adult entertainers. It's for us, by us. It's about our community, club reviews, social feed. You're going to be able to connect with amazing entertainers there, an events calendar so you can see when all this stuff is coming up all around the country, and we are going to take it international really soon. But if you are in the US, go ahead and check it out now. Oh, and it has an income tracker. Don't let me forget. Okay, love you. Bye.